Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. My next guest is Gabriel Idahosa. He's the CEO of UHY Maggi & Co. And we'll be talking about the state of the people's economy. Okwemi just left here. Okwemi Guntade, a senior investment officer with financial derivatives company, just finished having a conversation with her, and we looked at the spending pattern of the domestic. We looked at the domestic commodity prices. Flour, the price of flour has increased, and so consumers will have to pay slightly more if they're going to eat bread. And according to a Good Morning note by FBN Quest yesterday, talking about squeeze on consumer spending, that the lingering macroeconomic challenges have taken their toll on consumer spending and resulted in a deceleration in top-line growth of most of the FMCGs listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. They were talking particularly about the brewery section. There's the food, beverage and tobacco sector, but it was the brewery section we're talking about. So they say local brewers are gradually focusing on value for money category, and forex restrictions have continued to add to the strain felt by these brewers. Of course, we know that December inflation picked up from the previous month, went up to 9.6% year-on-year from 9.4% according to statistics from the Bureau of Statistics Office. And the food, beverage and tobacco contributed about 47.9% to manufacturing GDP in the third quarter of 2015, but narrowed by 8.9% year-on-year in the same quarter. Let's talk to Gabriel Idahosa now to put these numbers and all these issues into perspectives. Good morning to you, Mr. Idahosa. Thank you for coming on the program. First of all, are you going to be cutting bread out of your daily meal anytime soon?
Well, I've had that happening. Maybe not. I probably will still keep on for a while, hoping that it doesn't go beyond what it is now.
Maybe you should start buying cassava bread, because I hear there are some bakers that still keeping to baking cassava bread. But then it's not a very interesting time for consumers at the moment, for Nigerians at the moment. You're dealing with electricity issues. You're looking at the macroeconomic challenges, and you're also looking at your pocket, because it seems as if your earnings are not commensurate with the economic realities. So where are we at the moment? And why does it seem as if we were not ready, Nigerians were not ready for all of this that has suddenly crushed down on us?
Yeah, we're not ready, even though the signs have been there for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Consistently, the signs from our major consumers of our primary commodity, oil, have made it quite clear, both in what they were doing and what they were saying, that they are going to reduce dependence on oil from countries like Nigeria that export oil. And so we should be ready, but we were not ready. As a people, as a country, we just believe that somehow the kind of oil prices we saw years before, $100, will just be there somehow. Somehow it is sacrosanct. It's built into the world system that people must continue to buy oil. But by June last year, it became quite clear that we were wrong, and we were not ready. And so we are in a state of shock as an economy, as individuals. We are having to redefine what our lifestyles ought to be. And so that's what we are going through. For individuals who had some foresight to see this coming, they're probably not as affected as the vast majority of Nigerians who are waking up to see a new life. And for example, you can't get bread to buy. And for children who have taking bread all their lives, you suddenly tell them you can't take bread. That's not good news.
Now, how do you think all of this is going to impact on the next reading for next inflation figures, which should be coming out in another couple of days? How do you think this is going to impact that figure?
Well, you got to look at the causes. As the causes of inflation we have seen in the last few months changed. All the things that contributed to getting us to 9.6 are still there. So it's already natural that they will move in the same direction. We haven't got plenty of dollars now to import products. We don't have, factories are not suddenly working faster or producing more than they did 2 months ago. So everything is moving in the same direction of a higher inflation.
Now, we also see that an average Nigerian spends about 65% of his or her earnings on food and beverages. And you just already mentioned that the dynamics have not totally changed. So in the coming days, we're going to see the misery index, Mr. Rani likes to talk about it that way. We're going to see the misery index continue to rise. And it seems as if, or is there any silver lining on the horizon for Nigerians?
No, the misery index will continue to rise in the short term. There's no silver lining in the short term. So I think that's the important thing. It's important for government and for us to know that in the short term, 6 months, 1 year, there's not going to be a silver lining, because the causes of what we have now are structural. They are not accidents. It is not an accident that oil is selling today at below $30. It is something that was created about 9 to 10 years ago, when most countries in Europe, America decided they were not going to risk their economy depending on oil from places like the Middle East with all the volatility they have there. They needed to find an independent source of energy that they can control. They took that decision and they were working diligently to achieve that. First through renewables, and then through finding their own oil and gas like America. So it is not something that, like, just because there is a war in the Middle East, the price has come down, then it will come up when the war is over. That time is past. And that's why it's important we tell ourselves where we are now is not going to be reversible within a short time. The reversal will come when we take actions. We take actions as a country, as individuals, to create a new economy. We have to transit from an oil-driven, oil-based economy to an economy that is based on ourselves, on our human capital, on our local resources. And then we have to be determined to build that economy and not continue complaining, lamenting that the dollar is 30, because the oil price is not going to rise anywhere near where it ever was.
Okay,
so it's just going to be between 30, 40, and that's...
So that's the reality on ground. Another reality on ground is that when you go to the market, you don't have so much money. You want to cook a very delicious pot of soup. Mm-hmm. You go to the market, you have to buy oil, you have to buy Maggi, pepper, tomato, the works. Mm-hmm. But then what you have is not commensurate to what they have, because the food, the products are expensive. They go to they work so hard, go to the farm, and you come to the market feeling that's okay. You should be able to get the food at an affordable price, because I mean it's food anyway. Food is supposed to be like basic, but you can't. And so you now have two downsides. You can't get what you want, and then the person who is selling that particular commodity might not sell it because you're pricing it low. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't get sold and it gets bad, and then you have to throw it away. You're now thinking about how you want to work to address that particular challenge. So it's a win-win situation for everybody, for you, for me, and for whoever the pepper or tomato seller or the rice seller is. So how do you think they can boost consumer spending in light of that analogy that I've just used? So that it's a win-win situation for me, who's going to the market with less than 1,000 naira in my pocket, and I want to buy ingredients for a pot of soup that's going to cost me 2,000 naira because the market seller has had to go through some very rough time getting that product to the market.
Well, you've mentioned the two major players, the consumer and the supplier. The consumer has to accept a change in lifestyle. That change in lifestyle is a reality you have to deliberately deal with, because the lifestyle you used to have is no longer affordable. You don't have the income to maintain that lifestyle. So you have to deliberately adjust to a new lifestyle. On the supplier side, the market traders have to live with the reality that their customers have less money. So the kind of profit margins they are used to have to be revised. That's the big part of it. If as a trader I'm used to adding a markup of 30%, 40% at the price at which I buy anything, and I'm finding that the products were not sold the first day, the second day they are not sold, they are destroyed. By the third day I've got to think maybe I need to come down on my profits. So everyone from the farmer down to the restaurant owner is taking cuts in profit margins. And any smart operator in the economy now knows that that's the way to go. You've got to come down on profit margins. You've got to reduce your size of whatever you are selling. So you are seeing sachets and smaller units, because a lot of people before could go to a market and buy a carton of any product and say, oh, let me buy for the next 1 month. But now you buy maybe for the next 1 week, because what you have can only take you 1 week, hoping you'll get some more money next week to come back to the market. So that's the reality we are living in. That our pockets are reduced, the actual amount is reduced, the buying power of that money is being reduced every month at the rate of 10 or more %. So there must be a voluntary acceptance of a change in lifestyle.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we have the 2016 budget going to be passed in another couple of days, and about 2 weeks from now. So it begins to take effect from March of this year. Do you think that the 2016 budget will impact on consumer spending?
Well, the way the budget is structured, some part of it is deliberately targeted at that. You have the social welfare packages, the cash transfers, the loans for SMEs. A lot of that is targeted just to increase consumer spending. The recruitment of 500,000 teachers who are currently unemployed. So there is a deliberate attempt to increase consumer spending within the budget. So how quickly we see the impact is how fast government implements what they say they want to do. Because it's one thing to say you want to do that, and it's another thing not to see anything until November, and then the year is gone.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Idahosa, for coming on the program this morning and giving us your perspectives on the state of the people's economy.
Thank you.
Business Morning continues in just a moment. We'll be taking a look at what's going on at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. It's pre-market open, and the market is already set in continuous trade. Rotimi Fakaijo, stockbroker and the CEO of Enterprise Stockbrokers, joins me after now.